welcome back to a brand new video on the channel, guys. So what we have today, guys, we have another episode of the Championship Roundup. Unfortunately for us, we do now have an international break to go into, but in today's video, we will be rounding up all this weekend's action which did take place in the Championship. And from this weekend, we have a lot of talking points to go ahead and discuss, which I'm very interested to get your guys' opinions on. So make sure you do leave a comment in the comments down below as to what did you make of your team's performance this weekend, and what have you made of your team's performance this far this season. So before we get into any of the games, I will include your guys' comments on screen now. So if any of you guys did successfully manage to get any of your score predictions correct, then I will include your comments on screen now. Myself this weekend, I managed to get one of my score predictions correct, as did FIFA. Both managed to predict the East Anglian derby, finishing as a 1-1 draw. So not bad going from me, but apart from that, guys, let's go ahead and hop into talking about some of these games. And so we'll kick it off by talking about the Friday night game between Leeds United and Middlesbrough, which did in the end finish as a goalless draw. A little bit of an anticlimax in the end, really, considering that these were the top two in the Championship going up against each other, and in the end they cancelled each other out. Going into this game, you could tell what Middlesbrough's game plan was. They were looking to sit very deep for this one and limit Leeds United from open play, and you got to give credit to Tony Pulis because they pulled off what they set out to do. Middlesbrough had a couple of attempts going forward, nothing really from open play, but set pieces they were definitely contesting there. Flint had a chance, Ayola had a chance as well, and Johnny Howson had an attempt in the first half as well. But apart from that, Middlesbrough weren't really offering a lot going forward. Defensively though, they were looking very tight for this one, and you know, Leeds United so far this season have been one of the most free scoring teams in the Championship, but this is now Middlesbrough's 5th consecutive clean sheet in the Championship, and that can't be underestimated, you know. Middlesbrough haven't really got a lot of plaudits this season, I feel like, because of the brand of football they play, but to be keeping 5 consecutive clean sheets in the Championship is one hell of a task. And I do think that that defensive stability from Middlesbrough will serve them very well in the long run for this season. For Leeds United, they probably weren't at their best, but Middlesbrough sort of countered everything that Leeds were trying to do in this game. In the second half, it became a very niggly game. A lot of fouls were being committed and the play was being broken up a lot, which meant that Leeds couldn't really get into their full flow into the game. Leeds were also missing Pablo Hernandez. They probably lacked a bit of his creativity from open play in this one, as the chances were few and far between, really. So in the end, finishing as a 0-0 draw, a bit of a disappointing game. And then our next game also finished as a goalless draw. For this game, I didn't really think that Birmingham gave the best account of themselves, and probably QPR were actually unlucky not to go on and win this game, really. So far this season, we've seen Birmingham involved in a lot of games where they were creating a lot of chances, but just weren't being very clinical with them. In this game, it was sort of the opposite, really. They created next to nothing in this game and probably got lucky to get a point from it in the end. Lee Camp popped up with a couple of saves in the second half to go ahead and deny QPR. There was one really nice passing move from QPR in the second half where Luke Freeman was in on goal, but Lee Camp was able to go ahead and stop that attempt. QPR also had a couple of other chances as well, some chances from set pieces. Leitner and Hemed both headed over the bar in this one, and QPR weren't looking too bad, to be honest. I think that what's important for QPR is after they got absolutely battered 7-1, they've now gone ahead and kept 2 consecutive clean sheets in the Championship, which going into the international break, I think that that's given Steve McLaren a lot more to work with this QPR squad. And in terms of Birmingham, I thought it was a very lacklustre performance from them. The thing that Birmingham, in my opinion, have been most good at so far this season is breaking between the lines, that transitioning play from midfield out wide to create chances. For this game, that also went out the window. They were looking to play very direct in this game, and it wasn't really coming off for them, anything going forward. So Birmingham, I thought, were quite poor in this one. QPR, they're looking to improve from the start of the season. Our next game then saw Brentford go ahead and beat Nottingham Forest by 2-1, and yet again, I'm still yet to be convinced by Nottingham Forest this season. For the first half of this one especially, Nottingham Forest were way below par. Brentford had by far had the better of that half and managed to go ahead and take the lead just before half time. Going into the second half, I thought that Forest showed a bit of an improvement. They went ahead and levelled it up through Matty Cash. Daniel Bentley should have done better with it. It was quite a tame effort coming in from outside the box, but Bentley, it sort of squirmed under him and then went into the back of the net. But the Brentford winner in the end did come in the 84th minute through Ollie Watkins, another player for Brentford who has been superb so far this season for them. After the game, I did see some Forest fans having some differing opinions on what they make of Atakaranka and what they think the future should hold for this Forest side this season, of course. They were one of the big spenders in the transfer window, but we've not really seen that consistently, you know, on the football pitch so far with the performances that they've been delivering so far. It's still early days at Forest, but so far it's not been a brilliant start for them. Brentford, however, very impressed with them so far. Then we saw Derby County go ahead and pick up another win, this time against Hull City, as they managed to go ahead and beat them 2-1 away from home. This one was quite a good game, actually. I thought the Hull perhaps got a little bit unlucky with some of the chances that they were creating in the second half, but the first half of this one definitely belonged to Derby County. It was Martin Wycombe who went ahead and took the lead for them through a penalty, which was won by David Nugent. Going into the second half, Hull City definitely showed a response, and either side could have got something from this, judging by that second half alone. The equaliser that Hull City came up with, it was a brilliant through ball from Evandro, a defence-splitting pass, which led Todd Kane in on goal. He then coolly slotted it into the back of the net, and then after that, Hull City had a flurry of chances where Scott Carson needed to be kept on his toes for Derby County, and then Derby managed to ride that storm, and then going forward, it was Josefin in the 88th minute who managed to go ahead and pop up with the winner for Derby County. So Derby at the moment looking very good in the Championship, currently sat 4th in the table on 12 points. I do think that this is quite a big 3 points for Derby, really, you know. In the second half, especially where Hull were really on top of Derby, Derby showed some character in this one to go ahead and really grind it out and then go ahead and pop up with the winner later on, which we've already seen them do this season, you know, thinking back to that Reading game on the opening day of the season. So, you know, having character in this squad is something that you could maybe argue Derby haven't had in these past couple of years, but under Frank Lampard, there seems to be that bit more resilience with them there, and Hull City on another day definitely could have got a point from it, or even all 3 points in the end. So definitely could have gone either way, but Derby at the moment looking very good. And our next game saw my team, Preston, then go ahead and draw 2-2 with Bolton Wanderers in what was quite an entertaining game in the end, actually. I thought this would be a really low-scoring, really dreary game, but in the end it wasn't that. The first half especially was absolutely fantastic to watch. In the first 16 or so minutes, Preston were in complete control of this game. We came out of the blocks racing for this one, and we were really looking good. Some of our passing moves were very good. Bolton couldn't really deal with us going forward. Brandon Barker breaking on the counter-attack, slipping in Callum Robinson. He then took the ball around the keeper and then managed to make it 1-0 to Preston. Then after just 16 minutes, we managed to go ahead and double our lead. A fantastic goal by Alan Brown. He chests it down on the edge of his box and then sort of swivels on the volley and hits it over his shoulder, and the ball goes ahead and loops into the back of the net. And after 16 minutes of this game, you know, we were cruising for it. We were looking very good going forward. Our passing was very sharp. I didn't think that Bolton would be able to get back into the game from there, but Bolton, in fairness to them, showed fantastic character, and I mean, Preston should be disappointed to go ahead and give a 2-goal lead away in the first half. It was the 38th minute when Bolton got back into it. Sort of a pop shot from Sammy Amiobi for about 30 yards out. Declan Rudd spilled the ball into the back of the net. Should be doing better with that, especially after the week he had last time out against Derby County, where he let in 2 poor goals in that game as well. And then in the 40th minute, Olkowski managed to go ahead and level for Bolton Wanderers. A fantastic, ferocious shot from just the edge of the box. Managed to cannon in off the crossbar, and Bolton had made it 2-2. Going into the second half then, the game sort of slowed down a little bit. It became a little bit niggly. A lot of silly fouls were being committed by both teams, really, and neither could get into complete control of the second half. Both sides had chances to go on to win it, but in the end, a point was probably the fair result. What's interesting about this game is after the final whistle, Ben Pearson was shown a red card and will now serve a 3-game suspension for Preston North End. In the end, there was just a mass brawl. I think that in the end, Ben Pearson did actually headbutt someone, which is why he was shown a red card, and it's a needless thing in the end, really, and it really doesn't set us up going well into the international break. You know, we gave away a 2-goal lead, and now we will be missing our best player for the next 3 games. Bolton, I thought, looked very good. I thought that if this was Bolton last season, they probably would have buckled when they went 2-0 down, but there seems to be a different mentality around them at the moment, so fair play for going ahead and getting the point in the end. On this game then, saw Sheffield Wednesday go ahead and claim their 3rd consecutive win in this Championship season, as they managed to stay off Reading by 2-1. It was Adam Reach who gave Sheffield Wednesday the lead, as Sheffield Wednesday really looked to start fast in this one. Reading, once again, I thought they were quite below par in this game, and then Sheffield Wednesday managed to continue that into the second half as Lucas Jow managed to make it 2-0 from outside the box. A very nice finish from him. After that, Sheffield Wednesday probably should have gone to kill the game off earlier. Nuku had a fantastic chance to go ahead and make it 3-0, but then Reading managed to pull one back with Moore getting on the score sheet, and then when Reading makes it 2-1, it's a bit of a nervy finish for Sheffield Wednesday, but in the end they were able to hold on for this one. What's interesting about this game is this now leaves Reading bottom of the Championship going into the international break with just 2 points, and since Paul Clement's arrived at Reading, he's not had the best record in the Championship, and I'd be interested to know from the general Reading fan, what's your opinion on Paul Clement, and how much more time do you think the board is going to give him before you need to be looking at making a change? In the Championship, it is a game of very fine margins. You know, there were occasions earlier on in the season where Reading probably should have got more out of the game that they ended up getting in the end, but in the end it is a results business, and Reading are currently sat bottom of the Championship. For Sheffield Wednesday, I feel like there's a lot more optimism around the club at the moment. Barry Bannon I thought was fantastic once again in this game, and at the end of this weekend, Sheffield Wednesday are now sat 11th in the table. Our next game then saw Sheffield United absolutely batter Aston Villa by 4-1 in what was a complete performance from the home side. They were absolutely terrific in this game, and Villa were absolutely nowhere to be seen. The tone of this game was sort of set after just 6 minutes as Jack O'Connell managed to go ahead and head Sheffield United in front. Duffy managed to make it 2-0 then. The Aston Villa defence were just backing off, and he rifled one into the back of the net from outside the box. They then managed to make it 3-0 just before half-time. Ollie Norwood scoring from a free kick. Nyland should have done better. It was at his near post. And then they managed to make it 4-0 after the break as Billy Sharp managed to go ahead and get on the score sheet. For this one, Sheffield United were absolutely... They just seemed like a team possessed for this one. Their record recently in the Championship has been fantastic, but this performance especially was absolutely superb. Everything was clicking for them going forward. They were opening up Aston Villa at will. They were winning all their individual battles, and if Sheffield United can maintain that level of performance for a whole season, I mean, the top 6 could definitely be on the cards for them this season. I think they are a very underrated side in the Championship. In terms of Aston Villa, though, quite a lot is quite a dysfunctional team at the moment. There were Villa fans chanting, "You're getting sacked in the morning" to Steve Bruce, so it'll be very interesting to hear from Villa fans as to what you make of Steve Bruce at the moment. The only real positive for Villa was El Ghazi got on the score sheet for you in this one, but Steve Bruce at the moment not having the best time at Aston Villa. They have fallen to, I think, 12th in the Championship now. With the current starting 11 that Aston Villa have, there are absolutely no excuses why they shouldn't be challenging for automatic promotion, in my opinion. They are a little bit light at centre-back, but apart from that, they have one of the best squads in the Championship, and if Bruce isn't managing to get the best out of that squad, a change will need to be made. And then we saw West Brom go ahead and claim a 2-1 home victory over Stoke City, and once again Stoke City looking very mediocre. We thought after last week, as they managed to go ahead and get their first win of the season against Hull City, they may have turned the corner, but they just went back to square one in this game, in my opinion. Dwight Gale absolutely superb for West Brom in this game. The goal that he opened the scoring with after just 16 minutes, definitely contender for the goal of the weekend. A superb twist and turn around 2 West Brom players. They managed to keep his composure, take it around Jack Butland, and then slot it into the back of the net. His partnership up front with Jay Rodriguez this season will cause defences all sorts of problems, but Stoke City certainly didn't help themselves in this game. Stoke did have a fantastic chance to get back level on this game. It was Sam Johnson who had the ball. He sort of kicked the ball against James McLean, and that just went over the crossbar in the end. So West Brom getting off the hook a little bit with that one. But going into the second half, West Brom still the better side. They were looking very good going forward. Jay Rodriguez had a good chance where he possibly could have squared the ball to Dwight Gale, but it was Gale who doubled their lead after just 59 minutes. And Stoke City by that point were really looking dead and buried. At the moment, Gary Rowett, I'm still not convinced he's the right man for this Stoke side at the moment. I think there's a lot of talent there which he's not getting the best out of. Stoke did pull a consolation goal back in the 95th minute. A fantastic rifle effort from Eric Peters from outside the box, darting into the top corner, managed to make it 2-1, but in the end Stoke were never going to get back into the game. So a very good performance from West Brom again. However, for Stoke City, they're still looming in and around the relegation zone as they've only gone ahead and won 1 game so far this season. And then we saw Wigan Athletic go ahead and get back to winning ways with a 1-0 home victory over Rotherham United. It was James Vaughan with the only goal of the game for this one. It was, I think, an initial shot from Callum McManaman. Rodak couldn't hold it, and then Vaughan managed to go ahead and follow in to go ahead and give Wigan the lead in this one. Rotherham had chances to get back into it. Ryan Williams had a very good chance, but Walton making a fingertip save to go ahead and tip it around the post to go ahead and ensure that Wigan got all 3 points for this one. It wasn't an easy game for Wigan, I wouldn't suggest. Defensively, I thought the Rotherham were looking quite good for the majority of it. Rodak made some good saves for Rotherham in this one, and they had a counter-attacking threat going forward with either Taylor in the first half or Vassell in the second half. They just couldn't have that quality to go ahead and get anything from the game in the end. They definitely had chances in the second half, but in the end it was Wigan who managed to hold out for all 3 points. Then to the evening kickoff on Saturday, we saw Swansea City go ahead and claim a 2-1 away victory against Millwall, and they were playing most of the game down to 10 men as Baker Richardson was sent off after just 5 minutes for a dangerous tackle. When you're playing with 10 men at the Den, it's never going to be an easy fixture for you. And Millwall did manage to take the lead for this one through a set piece coming in, and Murray Wallace managed to go ahead and head them 1-0 in front. After that, Swansea showed a fantastic response, and it was a really good away performance for the second half for Swansea, in my opinion, when they did go that 1 goal down. Jefferson Montero being brought on from the bench gives them an extra dynamic going forward, and in my opinion, I know he's injury prone, but he's got to be a starter for Swansea now, surely. Going forward, he gives them an extra edge going forward. Picked up both assists for their goals to get back into this game. It was a nice pass into Norton as he managed to go ahead and make it 1-1 with a nice finish from outside the box, and then a fantastic counter-attacking passing move where Jefferson Montero slipped to Ollie McBurney to go ahead and make it 2-1 to Swansea. After that, Swansea then hit the crossbar, and then later on Millwall hit the crossbar, but in the end it was a very good away performance from Swansea City as they managed to go ahead and claim all 3 points for this one. Then to the Sunday games, we had the East Anglian derby, this one finishing as a 1-1 draw in the end. I've got to say that both teams going up against each other, Ipswich and Norwich, of course, they both got aspirations of making it into the playoffs, but realistically, I thought that you could sort of tell that neither side will be in and around the playoffs this season. I thought that the quality they both showed in this one sort of resembles them both being in and around mid-table this season, really. And the first half of this one, I thought that Norwich probably came out better for this one. They were having quite a few chances from set pieces for this one. Ipswich so far being quite lacklustre defending them, but they managed to go ahead and ride it out, and it finished 0-0 at the end of that half. Walters had a good chance at Ipswich at the end of that one, hitting the post for them, but it was Gwion Edwards for Ipswich Town who managed to go ahead and make it 1-0. A deflected shot managed to find its way into the back of the net, and when it was 1-0 to Ipswich, the game was sort of in the balance. Ipswich were having chances to go ahead and make it 2-0, and Norwich were also threatening to get back into the game. And if Ipswich make it 2-0 at that stage of the game, I don't see Norwich coming back from that, but Ipswich weren't able to kill off the game, and Norwich managed to get back into it with a nice finish from Lightner from outside the box in the end to go ahead and make it 1-1. After that, both sides had chances to go ahead and win it. Paul Hurst made quite a big shout before this game to go ahead and drop Bill Kowski to the bench and bring in Dean Gherkin, but I thought that he had a decent game for them in the end. He made some decent saves, and in the end the 1-1 draw was probably the right result. And then as our final game, we saw Bristol City go ahead and pick up a very convincing 4-1 home victory over Blackburn Rovers. It was actually Blackburn who took the lead in this one. A very bizarre goal coming from straight from the corner spot, actually. Charlie Mulgrew taking a curling effort, and somehow it managed to end up into the back of the net. Bristol City after that though showed a fantastic response, managing to go in at 1-1 at half time. A really nice free kick from Josh Brownhill managed to level things up, and then going into the second half, Bristol City was starting to absolutely run away with this one. One thing that you don't want to do going up against this Bristol City side is leave a lot of space in behind, as they will absolutely exploit that, and they did that in the second half. It was Molly Watkins who managed to go ahead and make it 2-1, and then Jeju on his return to the first team managed to go ahead and make it 3-1. It was a very nice finish from him as he managed to beat Raya at his near post, and then Marlon Pike managed to go ahead and wrap it up in the 82nd minute for Bristol City. Going forward lately, Bristol City have looked absolutely fantastic. Now they have Jeju back as well. This gives them a good feeling going into the international break, I feel like. Blackburn Rovers, of course, getting their first loss of the season. This was inevitable to come sooner rather than later, in my opinion. Their performance for this one, I thought it did drop off significantly from what we've seen of them recently, but I don't think anyone really anticipated Blackburn to keep up the performance levels that they were putting in earlier on in the season. But for this one, Bristol City by far deserving of all 3 points. They were really looking sharp going forward for this one. But guys, they were all the games that did take place this weekend. So in terms of my results of the weekend, I'm going to go ahead and give it to Sheffield United for their 4-1 home victory over Aston Villa. It was a terrific performance. As for my goal of the weekend, there are a lot of contenders for this one, but myself, I'm going to have to give it to Alan Brown of Preston North End, scoring a volley on the turn from the edge of the box, looping into the top corner against Bolton Wanderers. A superb effort from Alan Brown. And then my player of the weekend, I'm going to go ahead and give that to Ollie Norwood of Sheffield United. I thought he was absolutely superb in midfield for them against Aston Villa. Managed to pop up with a goal and an assist in that game, and overall was absolutely fantastic. But guys, that will now wrap it up for this video. So if you did go in to enjoy, make sure you leave a like. It is always massively appreciated. Also as well, make sure you do subscribe for some regular Championship content. But apart from that, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.